Hello, everyone, and welcome into the hospitality room presented by Mascot Media. Bobby Swafford, Blair Cartwright, and at the end of March, opening day of baseball. I mean, there's a lot going on right now.
There is. I'm glad I'm on spring break finally, so I can enjoy a little bit of it.
Yeah, yeah, which means yard work.
Yes, and today was actually the first day that I didn't work all week. I've been calling basketball games, calling WNIT games, calling baseball games, and today's the first day of my spring break that I have not worked.
Nice, man. You've been everywhere.
I have. I went to Branson last week to call the NCCAA National Championships, men's and women's, which is the National Christian Colleges,
Mm-hmm.
and then back to Conway on Sunday to call baseball, and then to Fort Smith to see my dad. My dad decided it'd be a good idea to have a quadruple bypass
Oh,
surgery this week, so there's that.
well,
And then
thoughts and
back,
prayers to him.
yeah, so he's doing well. He's already asking about the schedule for the game, so he's all good. And then back to Conway Monday night for WNIT, baseball on Tuesday, baseball on Wednesday, and now I finally got a day off today, so I did yard work.
Yeah, man, you are one busy body.
Yeah, I
I've
don't
got
know
some
why.
yard work. If you get bored, I've got some stuff that could probably get done.
Well, I didn't get all of it done here, unfortunately, because this is the first time I've tried to do it this year, and of course the lawnmower didn't start. So changed the
Yes,
oil, put new gas in it, still didn't work. So I don't know what's going to happen.
spark plug
Well, that's a good
could be
idea.
next on the checklist.
Yeah,
But
okay.
don't take my word for it because I am not a mechanic by
Yeah,
any
I'm not either.
stretch. But that would be my next guess.
Yeah.
So,
So I gave up, came in, took a shower, and cracked a beer. That's what I did.
hey, that's a win. That's a win. And that's America. And we love it. All right, let's get to our topics. First topic. What else? Well, I took it off. Same on me. March Madness. It's the Sweet 16. And
Yeah.
not a bad matchup, really,
Mm-mm.
to be found anywhere. So, with that in mind, let's talk West Regional Razorbacks tonight. Texas Tech, late game. And
Yeah.
then the other game, a lot of intrigue now. Florida, Maryland. Reports now coming out that Kevin Willard's going to leave Maryland at the end of the season and take the Villanova job.
Hmm.
Wow, what a major distraction.
No kidding. Well, I mean, as if there weren't enough distractions already by making the Sweet 16. You've got the transfer portal opening on Monday, and you've got teams like Maryland, who's their coach is getting poached because he had a pretty eye opening, I guess, press conference, if you will, talking about his athletic director, going to be leaving and all that. I mean, the writing was on the wall that he wasn't going to
No.
be back either way. But yeah, I mean, you look at all the brackets. I mean, really, of the 8 matchups left, I mean, you can't find a clunker. I mean, Arkansas, Texas Tech has the intrigue of course, of a double-digit seed in Arkansas. But you and I both know that the Hogs aren't a normal 10 seed. I mean, that roster is pretty
Correct.
good.
Yeah.
You don't know how much Theo is going to play tonight. Obviously, they said that they put out there that he had a setback in practice, but you feel like Arkansas is getting healthy, and if he can just give you 10 or 12 minutes tonight, and if they find a way to win this one, give you 15 or 20 against Florida or Maryland, I mean that's a bonus because it's more than you have right now.
No question about what. And what do you think of Cal announcing that on? I know he doesn't do local media for whatever
Hmm.
reason, but announcing that on um, no,
McAfee.
McAfee's show
Yeah.
instead of the university putting out a release.
Well, I mean, because Cal's a national brand, and he
Yeah,
is going to use his platform to promote his kids and his basketball program when he wants to. And it's no
hmm.
longer, Arkansas media is never going to break a story with Cal
Oh no.
in Arkansas basketball. It's just not going to happen. It was actually a miracle that Wes Moore out of Little Rock broke the story that he got hired. I'm surprised Cal didn't try to break that himself on, kind of by sending a text. But
Hmm.
and that's the kind of person he is. And so, but he got a national show that has millions and millions of viewers every day to talk about Arkansas basketball, and so that's what his job is.
Yeah, good, fair point. So who do you like tonight? Arkansas or Texas Tech? I would assume Florida awaits the winner because I don't know if Maryland's mature. I mean, they're all young, so I don't know if they're going to be
Mm-hmm.
able to handle the distraction of Willard. If they do tonight, I don't know. It's only going to get worse the more they win.
Right, and it was a walk. They shouldn't be here. He traveled 3 full steps.
No question.
I think I'm pretty sure I picked Kansas to win that game, but I knew that whoever that won the game at Arkansas or Kansas was going to beat St. John's. They're just more athletic. St. John's hadn't played anybody all year. I made that comment here in the hospitality room. To me, like Arkansas is good, but they're inconsistent. And Texas Tech has got a better offensive team than they have in years past. And that maybe they're not the complete lockdown defensive team that we've seen or grown accustomed to the last few years. But I think Arkansas is going to struggle at times. And now you throw in, of course, JT Toppin, one of the better players in the country. I just don't know if Arkansas has the horses to keep up, especially if Thiero is only playing 10 or 12 minutes. So I'm leaning Texas Tech. I think it is a competitive game for the first 35 minutes. I just don't know if Arkansas has got enough in the tank. Just because they've got so limited bodies, and there's a lot of miles on those tires now because those guys had to play so much late in the regular season.
Yeah, it almost comes down to at this point, and you hate to put it on officials, but how do they call the game?
Yes.
So I don't know. It would not shock me to see the winner of the Arkansas Texas Tech game go to the Final Four, because I don't think Florida can handle. Maryland's going to be distracted, and Florida, I mean, they're lucky to be in the Sweet 16.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if they're quite ready for prime time yet.
I don't know. I might disagree with you there. I mean, Florida beat Arkansas by 8 early in the year, and I like Florida. They're playing very well. I'm kind of torn.
If there's 2 more minutes in that game, they're done.
I completely agree. But also, that's the 2-time defending national champion that they were playing. They weren't playing a bunch of slappies.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing too, and because we've been on the other side of it, the further you go in the tournament, the more the media screwed. I mean, it really becomes a circus, and it's who's able to put the noise out of their mind, which is hard to do. Because then you're sitting around the hotel all day. You know, there's media everywhere. It's weird. So, I don't know.
Yeah. I'm with you. I think if they come out and hit some shots, and you bring up a good point as how the game is called, if they're giving Arkansas the calls when they try to get in the lane and they're making a regular trip to the foul line, then Arkansas's chances of winning go up exponentially. Now, if they're not calling anything, then Arkansas is in trouble because we all know that they don't shoot exactly real well from the deep.
Yeah. Or if they call it tight and Arkansas gets in foul trouble.
Yeah.
It's
not the depth. You're right.
So, yeah, we shall see. That shall be interesting. All right, we'll move to the South Regional. Man, Auburn, Michigan, Ole Miss, Michigan State. Chris Beard, Tom Izzo. That is salty, to say the least.
Yeah, man, there's a reason that game's at 6 o'clock on CBS. Because of that coaching matchup. I mean, that's what everybody wants to see. And, you know, Chris Beard, if he figures out his personal life, he's one of the best coaches in the country. He's already proven that so many times. That's a really intriguing matchup. I had Michigan State coming out of that region when I filled out the bracket late, of course. But I like Izzo. I like coaches in big moments. But, I mean, you look at this, in this region, you've got 4 coaches who can get it done. And even looking at Michigan, in May, he got Florida Atlantic to the Final Four with John L. Davis and company, of course. And 3 of those players from that team are in the Sweet 16 for various teams. So I think Michigan takes down Auburn. If I have to bet against one of those coaches, I'm betting against Bruce Pearl every time. And I think Sparty is good enough, but I think that game is really, really entertaining.
Oh, yeah. It's a flip a coin deal. I'm with you. I think Michigan can take out Auburn. Dusty May can coach. I mean, you don't take a Florida Atlantic. So, I mean, it's crazy go ahead.
Yeah, if both Michigan schools win like I just predicted, how about the Big Ten taking down 2 SEC schools in the Sweet 16?
Oh, don't you know?
That'll stir some things up.
Oh, yeah. And they will be letting Mr. Sankey know about it. It'll be crazy. But, I mean, wow, Michigan State. That'll be very salty. Yep. In the East, good games as well. Duke, Arizona, BYU, Alabama may break the scoreboard.
I think that both of these games have a chance to break the scoreboard. I mean, Arizona puts up 87 on Oregon, and survives that game. And then, of course, Alabama and BYU. BYU puts 90 on Wisconsin, and a game that was scored 190 points, I guess it was. I mean, it was those two teams. You're exactly right. I don't know who's working the clock there, but they should get severance pay, hazard pay.
They're not going to need a shot clock.
No. Just turn it off and let them play. It's going to be really entertaining. I like Duke and Bama to come out of those two, but I think we're going to get our money's worth watching those.
Yeah, I mean, so, as we've seen, there's just not very many bad matchups at all. And in the Midwest, maybe Purdue Houston's the most unsexy one, and then you've got the Kentucky Tennessee rematch. Could this be the year Rick Barnes finally gets to the Final Four?
If they didn't have to play Houston in the Elite Eight, I would say yes. We're talking about Alabama and BYU and all these teams that can go out and score points. Houston just suffocates you. If you score 55 points against Houston, you've done something. It's crazy how well Kelvin Sampson has gotten guys to buy into his system and say, hey, we're going to grind it out. And all you have to do is score 75 points, and you're going to blow everybody out because your defense is so good. That Kentucky-Tennessee game is going to be very intriguing because I think with Arkansas winning, and this is the obvious statement, with Arkansas continuing to win, there's more pressure on Pope. Not necessarily rightfully, but because Kentucky fans are crazy, and they feel like he's got to be able to win to match everything Calipari does. I don't think that's necessarily the case. I think it's been a great year for Kentucky already. But that's big time. That's what you're supposed to have those kind of matchups in the SEC. You're supposed to have really good teams squaring off, or the Sweet 16.
Yeah. Well, it is funny. You mentioned that Cal and Kentucky. Here is Kentucky finally having won 2 games in the same tournament in forever. And, oh, yeah, Cal, well, he's done the same thing.
Yeah.
It's got to be driving them nuts, which is, I think, great. So, unbelievable. Before we get off the tournament, the UConn SID threatening the reporter to ruin his life. I see where he's apologized, and Hurley's going to serve a suspension and all this stuff. Have you ever had any incidences like that in your media days when someone threatened you or implied?
Yeah, well, I mean, I had one way back in the beginning of my TV days. I had oddly enough, the person who held my position currently tell me that it was going to be a cold day in hell if I ever covered one of his events again.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So that was entertaining. And then I made the comment. I was like, well, okay, I'll see you next weekend, because it was the first of 2 football championship weekends. And he later came apologized to me. And this is before, I didn't post anything about it on social media. I don't really tell that story a ton, but yeah, it's funnier now because I received an award named after him. And then I also replaced him a couple years later. So it's pretty entertaining.
Oh, wow. That's crazy. But I mean, it's just, and then, they've come out with, there's so many restrictions too. And people, I don't know if people know, when you're at the NCAA tournament, you can't shoot pretty much anything in the arena game day.
Correct.
You can shoot, and I saw the other day, you can only shoot 15 minutes of practice now. That didn't used to be the case. Used to be you could shoot whatever, but I mean, you didn't shoot the whole thing. But the access is very limited, and now with cameras everywhere, it's a wonder. You got to think CBS caught it as well and had it. So it's just, I don't know, it's just odd that, you hear Sacred Place and all this stuff. But I mean, cameras are everywhere. Yeah. So it's just, it's not the first time. We saw stuff during the regular season where he's barking at people.
Yeah.
But to threaten somebody to not post it, it's, in this day and age, it's insane. It's almost like inviting people to create situations so they can post
Correct. it. As soon as you say don't post it, I mean, you make it even worse.
Yeah.
Because you're making something even more. And of course, Hurley has acted like a jackwagon for most of the season. And obviously he got a huge contract after going back to back when Kentucky came calling and some others. But he gets teed up and he says, "Don't you know who I am? I'm the best coach in the game." And then with what he had to say after the loss to Florida, I mean, just lack of reality. He's just completely out of touch. And they say it's like, oh, we didn't, it's going to take some juggernaut to beat us, and all the things that he said. It's just, I don't know. I don't know that suspension's enough. I mean, you're going to have to really come down on Hurley to get him to stop behaving that way, because you can't have that, because he is the face. As good as women's basketball has been at UConn, he's the face of that athletic program. And totally. You cannot have that because everybody's perception of UConn now, it's not great because of Auriemma. Not that he's not a great coach, but he's kind of fickle and kind of standoffish. And now you've got two coaches who are just complete D-bags to the media. You can't. I mean, it's a bad look.
I would agree. It's just, in this day and age, I'm just so thankful we didn't have social media when I was in TV. I mean, it works both ways, obviously, but I mean, I just can't imagine. It's just changed everything. So
well, I was in it. I got out. So 2020, I guess it was, and so social media was there. Yeah, social media was there, but it wasn't, I guess, as crazy it is now. I mean, there wasn't like the TikTok, and Instagram was new, but it wasn't really being used by media outlets. And I was never one of those that just walked around with my phone and waiting to hit record. Now, I had a couple underneath me that they did that, and of course there were some younger people at some other stations that always had their phone in their hand, ready to hit record no matter what. Nothing ever came of it. I was like, how much are you recording in life? You got to sit there and delete or filling up your phone. Yeah. To me, that's not a way to live. Like, sometimes you got to be in the moment.
But no, I agree. It's just, it's like now you go to games and people are not watching the game. They're trying to record it.
Yeah.
That, that one moment, it's just,
it doesn't make sense. Wild. Yeah. I don't get it, because like, you're going to go back and watch that and it's going to be, blurry and too far and not in focus. And you're just going to be so loud you can't hear. It's like when people post videos of fireworks on 4th of July. Like, do you really need that? Or like the video from a concert you went to, you can't understand anything that's being said.
Yeah.
Like, just enjoy the moment. You paid decent money probably to be at whatever event you're at. Just enjoy it and quit looking at your phone all the time.
Yeah. And how is it not a copyright infringement?
Right. Yeah. That's another problem.
I mean, it's just social media. I don't know. Social media is just good and bad, but it's just, I mean, I don't know. It's just, it's crazy.
Yeah, we need this rabbit hole graphic and transition for the broadcast, because JB Brazil and I go down these rabbit holes during these baseball broadcasts. It's very entertaining. I'll
be happy to loan you the
loan it out. So we needed it last night. We killed a full half inning talking about the transfer portal and how it's killing college athletics.
Oh, totally. I mean, it's like, okay, we still have this. We start the Sweet 16 today. Mm-hmm. The portal opened Monday.
Yep.
Coaches are trying to prepare. 16 guys are trying to compare their team to continue their season, and you've got players. I think Scottie Pippen's kid's already in the portal, and his team's in the Sweet 16.
Right.
I mean,
well, I mean, and this was I brought this part up, is like, there's no longer loyalty. Like, his team is literally playing this week, the chance to go to the Final Four, and he's like, you know what? I don't care about you guys. I'm going to do me, and I'm going to leave right now. Like, wait a week. I mean, I get it that the transfer portal, taketh and it giveth, and all of a sudden you may not have a chance to, to go play. There not be a roster spot for you somewhere, but you need to move it back 2 weeks. But totally. Also, like, it closes in mid-April. And so whoever wins this week, the teams are going to be way behind as well. It's all of it's broken. I mean, the whole system's broken. The whole idea of it's broken. And there's no immediate fix anywhere near on the horizon. And I truly do think this, and I said this on the broadcast last night, and I've probably said it in here before too, is you've got people who are loyal. It used to be the only people who were disloyal were coaches who took other jobs. Like, oh, all he cares about is the money, blah, blah, blah. Well, now it's the players are able to do that too. And now universities, take another step to it, are asking their fans and their dedicated fan base and their boosters to give. More. Mm-hmm. We need more money. All it's going to take, and probably not at Arkansas, let's be real, but I was talking about Arkansas State and Central Arkansas because they were playing baseball last night. All it's going to take is one of their big boosters, because they don't have a ton of them, just one of their big boosters to give a player NIL money, and all of a sudden that player does exactly what we saw. He quits on his team. He announces he's going to transfer late in the year or the day after the season's over. And all of a sudden, that big booster, say he owns a bank or he owns a car dealership, says, you know what? I'm done with these kids. I'm not giving any more money to the kids. I'm not giving more money to school. And now those small mid-major colleges don't have their boosters anymore. What happens then?
Yeah. No. Well, even at the big schools,
Yeah.
you know, those people don't have money. Well, some do by inheritance, but they don't hang on to their money by being foolish. So I don't know. It's like it's not like this money is an endless supply.
Yeah. So what I don't understand is like the NIL, what it's supposed to be, you're supposed to be able to use their name, image, and likeness to sell a product, to promote your business.
Yes.
Like, what college kid is going to tell me that I need to buy a car or buy a hamburger or whatever that's going to have any kind of relevance on me or any human being in the world? None, right? Yeah. He's not Michael Jordan. He's not Charles Barkley. He's not going to sell some shoes. I'm not going to go run out and buy a pair of Reeboks because, he's endorsing it like Shaq did. I mean, it's a bad business plan. If you own a business, he's like, you know what, I own a mower company and I'm going to have Blair Cartwright, do my commercials. Like, nobody's going to go buy a lawnmower because Blair Cartwright's in your commercial.
You wouldn't think, but I think there's a small percentage, not buy the mower for me, but if you had like Jalen Williams when he was at Arkansas, if he's pimping a product, I could see some people buying it because they like Jalen. I mean, he's probably the exception though because he was local and everybody knew him. But yeah, I mean, I think that has an impact. Now,
Let's go Joseph Pinion. I'll throw this one out there. Joseph Pinion from Morrilton had a radio ad for a clothing store out of Conway when he played for the Razorbacks. All of a sudden, he transfers and he's still doing the same commercial for the radio station, but now he's playing for Arkansas State. And now is he going to do that same commercial for a third school as he's announced he's transferring to South Florida? Like, so that's what I'm talking about. Where's the loyalty? Like, so they may say, hey, you're going to the Razorbacks. We're going to have you do this commercial. You're a local kid. Here's some money. And all of a sudden he transfers to Arkansas State, and the owner's like, well, I'm not really an Arkansas State fan, but all right, I'm going to give you a little less money because you're obviously your reach is a little smaller. And now he's going to South Florida. Like, if I own that business, like, go kick rocks. Like, what are you doing?
Well, I'd love to see what these NIL contracts look like.
Yeah.
Because when it first started, it was like, whatever. Because Spencer Rattler got, 2 cars from that dealership? And he wasn't even the starting quarterback 3 weeks into the season.
Correct.
Did he have to give those cars back?
Yeah.
I mean, you almost need, if the business is smart, they'll have guardrails and provisions in there and whatnot. But, who knows? Well, it's just like anything else. So, I don't know. It's wild. But if someone wants to sponsor the Rabbit Hole.
Yeah. I derailed the show by going down my rabbit hole.
Oh, no, that's fine. That's why we have the Rabbit Hole graphic. It's delightful. All right. We'll go back to our topic du jour as we identify who we are there again. And
he's Blair. I'm Bobby.
Yes. And there will be a quiz later. And wait for them. Oh, maybe it's not going to time. There it goes. Thank you. All right. So the topic will maybe come back. Maybe not. Oh, well. Okay. I'll tell you what. We'll go to the mailbag instead.
Let's do that. Mail.
So we're going to go to the mail, and Sally wants to know, why is daylight savings time not a permanent thing?
Yeah.
I don't know why you're asking us, but
I have thoughts.
Meteorologist. Oh,
yeah, I have thoughts here.
Okay.
And I am not near smart enough to have the answer for the questions I'm about to ask.
Okay.
But when you have daylight savings, you have the sun comes up later and it sets later. So, but it also, that rotates throughout the year. And that's how the days get shorter, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you permanently have daylight savings 50, 100 years down the road, wouldn't it not be daylight in the middle of the night and dark during the middle of the day? Because like days are missing minutes. That's why we have leap year and leap days. So if you take away daylight savings, I feel like the sun may come at 4 a.m. and all of a sudden it's dark at 4 p.m. for part of the year. Again, I'm not smart enough to know how this actually works, but that's my thought process on it.
Well, like that one, there's that deal in Alaska where they play baseball at midnight and
yeah, the longest
they
day.
have sunlight for like 20 hours or something crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. That's yeah.
But there are certain states that don't have that problem. So like clearly I'm overthinking this. That they don't have daylight savings. So I'm overthinking it a little bit.
Arizona doesn't, and Indiana, I think.
Yeah.
Or maybe they do have it. I don't know. It's
Well, like here's my question: like, what's it matter? Like, who cares?
Yeah,
it's an hour. It's not like I'm asking you to skip a whole week of your life. It's an hour.
Well, and everybody's got lights, so it's not like I don't know.
I think it would be a moving target. Like you would have to like continually have to add hours.
Yeah. Is it one of those things? Well, we've always done it this way. So we're going to continue to do it this way?
Yeah.
Probably. I don't know. That's a good question.
We need a big advance in science pretty soon. Getting bored.
Yeah, it has been a while. I mean,
aliens need to show up or something.
Well, supposedly, I just finished a book on UAPs, which is now the new term for UFOs.
Correct.
Very interesting by somebody that was in the Pentagon. Says they're out there among us. The government's finally starting to acknowledge it. I don't know. We'll see. But
unidentified aerial phenomenon for those who don't know what UAP means.
Yes. Very good. So, I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll have them on our podcast.
Absolutely.
We'll give them mail. All right. Our next mail question. Which Van Halen was better? This does not involve science. David Lee Roth, Sammy Hagar.
I mean, you got to go with the original.
Who sent this? Really?
You got to go. Yeah, you always have to go original. I mean, he started the band.
Yeah. Well, he started with the band. He was the last member to actually join, I believe.
Yeah.
Or was he second last?
He helped make Van Halen, though, right?
Yeah. I mean, I prefer the Hagar version myself. Yeah. But I'm a big Hagar fan. So.
Yeah. I mean, you're not going wrong either way, but Sammy Hagar doesn't join Van Halen if David Lee Roth doesn't do what he did. Like Van Halen's not even on the same radar.
Sammy almost was the original lead singer.
Okay.
I listened to Brothers by Alex, his new book, which is on Audible. Very, very, very entertaining listen, but I thought it would have more maybe tidbits, insight, whatnot. Mm-hmm. It was pretty generic. And he didn't even get into the part of the band once Dave left and Sammy joined. So maybe there's a sequel down the line, but pretty amazing.
A sequel documentary. It's what we need.
Yes, we need more. Yes, it'd be wonderful. So we're split on this, but either way, we do like Van Halen. So that's a win-win, I think, for everybody. Mm-hmm. All right, so now we'll roll it into the final thoughts as we head into the Sweet 16. Kudos to Arkansas softball after getting obliterated by Oklahoma. One on the road in Tennessee. Razorback baseball got pummeled, but hey, that happens. It's baseball. Mm-hmm. And it's opening day today.
That's right. Go Cubs, go. Hey, Chicago, what do you say?